I feel like I need to put a disclaimer on this video, because this trip that we did here is dangerous and deadly if the proper precautions are not put in place.
Yeah.
For the water.
I see. Hydroelectric dam.
Yeah, man.
Ah.
Hold the water.
So there's water rapids.
Yeah.
Muy bien.
And move the dynamo.
So here we are, guys, in Mexico City, exploring Los Dinamos. And this is a mountain with a hydroelectric dam built in it. And you can see this trail we're walking on is not very frequently traveled. It's off the beaten path. And it's quite an adventure.
Axel is our mutual friend, and while he speaks more English than I do Spanish, it is still very limited, making the language barrier very difficult to navigate. I didn't realize until the next day that our Uber driver ended up dropping us off at the completely wrong location. So while we came to Los Dinamos to do some rock climbing, we ended up doing all hiking and barely made it out alive. With no water or cell reception, we finally found and managed to convince some strangers to rescue us.
Taking these beautiful views from Los Dinamos here. We still got a ways to go up the mountain, but we're already very high up and the views are just amazing. Now we can start to see some of the rock face at Los Dinamos that people climb. We're trying to find the way up to the very top here of the mountain. I think I actually just figured it out. Whew. Very steep incline, not much of a trail.
There were a couple questionable moments on this hike, but at a certain point it became clear we were lost. One of the large mistakes that we made at the beginning of our journey was not bringing enough water. Lesson number 1 was make sure your Uber driver drops you off at the right location. Lesson number 2 is make sure you either have a pickup plan or cell reception so that you can book an Uber at any time.
Rod for this rain.
Ah.
Yeah. But the humans access.
See? Yeah.
Derek, just like me, is stuck to about a 10 to 15 word vocabulary in Spanish, so he's not much help with translating.
Alright, let's see what we're doing here, guys. We're going for it.
So this is the first dicey moment in the hike, at least for me. We go up this small hill, and on the descent I fall and injure my knee a bit.
Ah. You don't think it's up that way, Axel? You don't think it's that way?
No, vamos a dar más.
Ah. See. Yeah.
Alright, here's my fall.
Muy bien.
Or should I say my first fall.
Oh, that's bleeding pretty bad, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Lesson number 3, make sure you pack a first aid kit. So this was interesting. Some of the only people we came across on our hike, and it was a large group. I learned later from Axel that this was actually the mountain security force. And I think they were getting quite a kick of seeing some gringos out on the trails.
Alright guys, Axel's waving us back down here. Not sure what's going on. He was talking to the security. Maybe we don't have enough water or something. Maybe they don't think I'm cut out for this trip after they saw my wounds. Yeah, this route's a little safer, it sounds like. Alright guys, we made it to the top of Los Dinamos here. And what a view this is. Word of the rise. Make sure you bring enough water. We only brought 1 liter of water here for the 3 of us, and Axel didn't even have to take 1 sip. But man, I could have used 2 just myself. We have probably about a quarter of the liter left for Derek and I, and you know, need to give Axel a little here too. But wow, definitely wish we had some more. Looks like people have done fires right here, like a little bonfire, which is pretty sweet. And is this paint, Axel?
Yeah.
Somebody painted this.
Ah,
Ah,
cuidado aquí si quieres.
see. Wow. And this is a sport climbing area here. We'll see if
Hay muchos
wow.
caminos para allá.
So this is like a little shrine. And then they have some painted stones here. Little bonfire area. Very cool. So this is really the woods or the forest near Mexico City, folks. And you can see it goes on quite expansively out into the distance. You can see a few houses scattered in, but other than that, it is just trees and wilderness out here. Beautiful hills and a lot of great off the beaten path hiking available. All right, we're going downhill now, which means we're gonna have to come back up later. It's very steep. Not great footholds. There's loose rocks and leaves. Already fell once, got a busted up bloody knee.
Vámonos aquí pegadito.
See.
We're currently walking along the edge of the forest near some houses, trying to make our way over to the other side where the rock climbing is.
Vámonos por aquí.
Some little houses down here.
Quiero bajar.
Ah. If you're coming here, guys, I would recommend wearing long pants, even long sleeves. The trails are very tight. You'll see like we're having to, my legs and arms are hitting, you know, brush on both sides. And Derek's already seen a few ticks out here, so I'm totally anticipating having some serious bug bites and ticks and things like that that I'll have to deal with later. We're right on the edge of the forest right now, kind of bordering some residential houses here on our left. Trying to find the best way to go down.
Now apparently, we learned this later, the town that we're at is very dangerous for white tourists, and that's the reason we were trying to stay in the forest here.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like these trails are very frequented.
In a few moments though, we
Yeah.
won't have a choice. We will need to go into the town to find some water. So I found out later that the destination we're trying to get to is 10 miles away on the completely other end of the forest. Right when our Uber driver dropped us off, an old lady
Maybe in a minute.
came running up to Axel and warned him that we should not be here as white tourists because it's dangerous and we're going to get robbed very quickly. So we made a beeline into the woods, and I didn't learn any of this until the next day through our other friend Jorge, who was able to translate all of this information to Derek and I.
This is crazy. No. Ah.
I'll admit I got a little bit nervous when Axel started to show us defensive maneuvers on how to guard ourselves from the wild dogs.
Hopefully the pair was chained up. Is this the water we're getting?
Now we've kind of creeped our way around town through the forest here to avoid the dangerous area, and we just found a road, and this is really our last opportunity to try and grab some water before we get even deeper into the forest.
A motorcycle and a car, that's a good sign. Back in the land of the living.
And we're getting some quick directions, water and rock climbing. We're currently walking through the El Ocotal neighborhood, which is near University City, still part of CDMX.
Alright guys, we just finished hiking up the mountain at Los Dinamos. Now we're gonna head over to the rock wall over there and watch Axel do some climbing. A little perro.
We just stopped at a shop and replenished our hydration. There was a drunk homeless guy, and I thought he was going to rob me if it wasn't for Axel.
Ah, cockfighting.
He's a hero.
Yeah, muy bien.
In Mexico, fight of beards
Yep.
is tradition.
Ah,
A lo mucho les invitas una chela o chesco
huh.
y ya. Para evitar problemas.
Yeah,
You want a beard, man?
exactly.
You do have to be a little careful with the video camera around here. There was another homeless man that we just passed, and you could tell he was very
Yep.
drunk. I didn't want to agitate him with a camera in his face.
What are these, Axel?
parecer, pues era un camino.
Ah,
Walk, sí.
okay. Yeah, there's very many of them. Yeah, I see. They used to drive up here.
Y de aquí todo yo creo que pasaban los carros y las camionetas.
Yeah. There used to be an energy company that put a hydroelectric dam at the top of this mountain, which is what these different concrete stands or barriers are for. Must have been quite a while ago because the road's not in the best condition anymore for vehicles. Some of it, like this part, could be drivable, but other parts are just a little too rocky and rooty right now. Alright guys, we're going up the mountain here. Let's actually do some sport climbing. Yeah.
I definitely think this was some of the most difficult climbing of the trek here.
Oh.
And essentially once we got up at the top, we just turned around and went right back down. Now in my backpack, I've got a 50-pound climbing rope. And once again, we didn't even end up doing any rock climbing. We do make it to the rock climbing destination at the very end of the video, but that's at the same time we find the strangers and end up having to convince them to save us, because otherwise we were in for a real dangerous situation.
I'm absolutely sweating my ass off right now, guys. Just taking a break here. Almost up the mountain. I'm gonna have to keep moving here.
So this is about the point that I started to wish I would have bought even more water when I was at that shop and had my chance.
All right, guys. I think I made it. Oh, holy shit.
And now we head back down.
See. Is this somebody's casa? Wow. That'd be cool. Ah, sure. That's cool.
Nosotros venimos así.
Casi derecho. Aquí hacemos desde ahora. Y ahí en lo total, a la combi.
So at this point we're obviously lost. We just came across the first gentleman that we've seen in quite a few miles, and we're going to take the chance to try and get some directions.
Para considerar eso, como por donde venimos, vamos a regresar.
Si quiere ir por la carretera, ahí sale. Pero, ¿qué se hace? Oiga, señor.
Ese es el detalle. No, yo creo que más bien nos regresamos. Para considerar el regreso.
Muchas gracias, señor. So this,
Para que sí, para agarrar agua.
wow. So it's, the pipe is cut here so that you can fill up your drinking bottle. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. Huh. Ah. Oh yeah. There's the rapids.
So we just came across a small town in the middle of the Los Dinamos National Park, and this is an area where many sport climbers park and then take a few mile trek through the forest to finally find the climbing area.
Yep. Wow. So this is a pulley system across the river. Wow. See? Holy cow. You gonna do that, Derek? No, I'm talking this pulley, that yellow pulley. And then you, right here, and you go across the river.
De allá para acá. Traigo el equipo.
Yep. Here's the hydroelectric dam.
Sí, de este lado se necesita el que frena, se llama freno, no sé cómo se llama.
See?
Iba a haber quesadillas, todo.
Oh.
Como la parte, ya llegamos a la parte turística.
Ah, muy bien.
Tourist area.
Yep. So this is the tourist area at the hydroelectric dam, folks. And look at this. Wow. Muy bien, señor. So probably on the weekend this would be a little bit more busy. And then here's a little bridge. It's not the nicest bridge I've ever seen here, but I think it will hold for now. Not too busy right now. A lot of these shops don't look open yet. Might be because it's a weekday. There's a couple that might be.
So this little tourist town is at the base of the Segundo Dinamo, which is the second mountain in the Dinamo National Park. There are 4 mountain peaks total, and I think we made it to the top of 3 of them.
That's coming down pretty fast, so we're up it up. That's a cool little wooden cabin there in the middle of the Mexican forest. Wow.
Ah, sí.
So this is where the water comes from? Agua?
Agua, debe ser agua potable, pero pues
Wow.
todavía no tanto. Allá arriba.
Yeah. Wow.
For the city.
Ah, water for the city. This is pretty here. Nice green grass. Yeah. Ah. Uh-huh.
This tourist area continues to expand rapidly. This nice landing in front of us will likely be a hotel or a camping area in the near future.
Oh, see. Ah. Okay. Huh. Ah. So here's a fish farm.
So you can actually catch your own fish right here and then have it cooked for lunch at the restaurant right next door.
For the witch.
Ah. Sí.
Entonces en realidad son para la ciudad.
So Axel just collected a little bit of sap from the sap tree and put it in the Coca-Cola bottle here. And yeah, we're gonna use that a little bit later. It's good for different, you know, medicines and things like that. Oh yeah. All right, guys. One of the craziest trails I've ever hiked up. Whew. Made it to the top of the hill here. And unfortunately, we realized that this trail really never ends. So we're gonna go ahead now and turn around and take probably about the 5-mile walk back to the city. Hopefully we'll have reception then and can order an Uber or a taxi to get back to the city. Here we are. We decided to keep going down the trail. And I did have a little bit of GPS reception on my phone, no cell reception. But the GPS was showing us that we were so far into the forest that it really barely made sense to turn around, and it made more sense to try and continue forward and try and find a potential road that's going to be coming up and hope that I might have cell reception there so that we can book a taxi. So this is pretty fucking sketchy, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm just right now kind of crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. Worst case scenario, we're gonna have to turn completely around and walk all the way back to the town that we started in. I hope we don't.
So my camera battery died, I switched to my phone, and we're just about to run into some strangers and take the opportunity to get rescued.
So Axel, what's happening here? Oh, these nice patrons there? Oh,
Nos van a
hey,
llevar.
gracias.
Sí, nos van a llevar donde podamos tomar un taxi.
Ah,
Porque aquí
Okay.
no hay señal, güey.
oh wow.
Entonces,
So Axel found some nice people and tell them I'll pay them and
sí, nos
yeah.
están- nos
So
están-
this is where our Uber
Yeah.
was supposed to drop us off.
Oh, that's very nice.
Ya que
So that's saving us what, a 8-mile hike back?
a este lugar nos debió haber traído el taxi.
Uh-huh.
Entonces nos llevó hasta el otro lado
Yeah.
y pues hasta ahorita pudimos llegar. La zona de escalada está aquí,
Okay.
pero la verdad es que mejor vámonos.
Yeah.
Porque si no vamos a tener que regresar por donde venimos caminando.
Yeah.
güey.
If it weren't for
Wow,
these strangers,
very nice.
we would have to retrace our steps completely on this journey.
Okay.
¿Va?
Mm-hmm.
Pero aquí nuestro amigo, ¿cómo te llamas? Fer. Acá Fernando
Ah,
nos
ah.
está haciendo el super favor. Y aquí
Muchas gracias,
también
Fernando.
Su chica que nos va a aguantar también.
Thanks for joining me on this wild adventure. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe.